Hey everybody, happy Homebrew Wednesday. Brad here, Cook NC, Wild Boys Brewery channel. Hope everybody's had a good week. Got my Hoppyummy, honey Hoppyummy, brewed yesterday. Got some footage of that. I really didn't get a whole lot of the brew day filmed. I got busy and kind of forgot to film part of it, but basically, how many times do you really need to see a pot of boiling beer and somebody dropping hops in it? A lot, right? Anyway, I got the first hop drop filmed and a little bit on my manifold, my new manifold I made. It worked out great. Talk about that a little bit later. Today I've got a homebrew I'm going to check out. I'll run over here and grab it. It's a beer I brewed last year. It's a extract with fresh fruit. I call it orchard ale. Damn print's so small I can't hardly read it. It's about 7% ABV. It's where I put a lot of my beers at. And I can see when it was bottled. It looks like it was bottled in August. Call it orchard ale. Use the Cooper's labeler to make that one. They've got one that's kind of like beer labelizer. It just puts Cooper's logo at the bottom of it. It's so small you can't even read it anyway. That's another good one to use if you are just want something different. They're kind of plain. They work out good. I was going to pop top and check this thing out. Nice hiss. And I got my trusty Duvel glass. And this one is an amber. Leave a little bit out of it. Still got real good carbonation. Looks like an IPA, the color of it is copper, but it's not. It's copper amber. Got about a half a finger of head on it. Good carbonation. Still got really great fruit smell on the nose. It's got a sweet, fruity smell. I used fresh peaches that I got from a fruit stand in it. And from what I'd read about using fresh peaches, they're kind of like strawberries. A lot of the flavors and the sugars, and if you just use peaches in it, or just use strawberries if you're making a strawberry beer, then the yeast eats a lot of the flavor out of it when it ferments, and then what's left kind of fades out pretty quick after you bottle it, if it bottle conditions, and even if you keg it, it still seems to fade out a lot from what I've read. So just using peach to make a beer is a bad idea. So what I read was from Randy Moser's Radical Brewing book. If you got it, then you already know if you've read through it. If not, I suggest you pick it up. If you're into doing different kinds of brews, I like to experiment a whole lot. If you've watched my channel much, you already know that. Fresh peaches, I used canned in their own juices, 100% no sugar added apricots, which apricots makes a great peach beer is what he says in there. So I used peaches, apricots, and canned in their own juices pears. And I also put apricot nectar, which you can get from the Mexican food aisle in a lot of stores. I can't remember what the stuff's called. It looks like a can of beer. It's basically it's 100% nectar. There's nothing funky in it. So it's got 4 different kinds of sugar fruit fermentables in it. Check out the lacing on it. It's pretty good. It smells wonderful. Let's get a taste on it. Cheers. Right up front, fruit, a little bit of malt. I lightly hopped this. I believe I used Hallertau in it when I hopped it. I made this for my girlfriend. She does not like IPAs or really hoppy beers or really dark bitter beers. So I had to make something she'd like, and I wanted to make something that I would like too. So this is the common ground we come up with. It's awesome. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. It's right at 7 months old, and it's still just very, very fruity, which is what I want. My girlfriend doesn't drink a whole lot of beer, and so I just kind of keep these for her. And I'll get one out every once in a while and drink them because I like them pretty good myself. Very nice. It's got kind of a thin mouthfeel on it because it's got a lot of it doesn't have a real big malt backbone, or where it had a lot, it's got a higher ABV and it doesn't have a lot of malt in it, other than the extract. It's got kind of a thinner mouthfeel, but it's nice because it's refreshing. It's an awesome summer beer to drink. Got a wonderful aftertaste. Goes down smooth, crisp, nice fruit on the end. But it's a pretty nice beer. Got the honey Hoppyummy going. Still need to bottle my Hefeweizens. Actually, the regular Hefeweizens started bubbling again, so it's probably a good thing I didn't bottle it already, or going to let it finish out a little more. The dark one has stopped, so I can go ahead and bottle that one. May do that this afternoon. Got my Belgian. Should be 2 weeks in the bottle tomorrow, or today's Tuesday, so tomorrow will be Wednesday. I'm going to put this up on Wednesday. We might put it up early today. But the mash tun worked well, and I hit my numbers for the first time. I was pretty happy about that. I actually overshot the efficiency by a little bit, which is awesome. Since I've started doing all grain, I was using the steel braided Manifold in the bottom of the 48 quart foam cooler, and I still got everything hooked up. Got the clamp on the end, and that's what's screwed into the bulkhead fitting. And I could never hit my numbers with using this one for some reason. I don't know what was going on if it was floating and wasn't sitting on the bottom. It's got copper wire spiraled up inside of it to keep it from collapsing. I would have thought the grains would have held it down, but maybe stirring it up, getting it off the bottom or something. But whatever was going on, that fucker's history, and it ain't ever going to be used again by me. If you use steel braided line and you have good luck with it, I'm happy for you. It didn't work for me. I'm going with the CPVC Manifold. I used it yesterday, worked awesome, and I'm probably just going to stick with that. I was having issues with my steel braided hose, so I changed out my mash tun, and I'm leak testing it right now. And I made me a manifold out of CPVC pipe. So far so good, and I did put a vent on mine. I know most people don't do that, so that would help keep from getting a stuck sparge maybe. And so far so good, no leaks. Nice and dry. And one thing I was able to do was I was able to take the brass fitting out of the inside when I swapped it out and put a CPVC fitting in there, so that takes away some of the brass from it. And I was pretty happy about that. And tomorrow we're going to be doing the Hoppyummy IPA Part 2. And we'll be putting this thing through its paces and checking it out. There's the aftermath of my first new manifold run. I've got most of the grains out. This thing worked like a charm. Haven't actually got to check the efficiency on it yet because I haven't got done with the boil. I'll just run it off into that, and then I put the 5-gallon fermenter bucket underneath it and run the hose down to that, boil off for two of these until it runs clear. Right now I've got 7 gallons on the pot, on the stove in the pot. I just did my first hop drop, which is 1 ounce of Columbus. And then on this one, I'm changing up my Hoppyummy recipe a little bit. I'm boosting the gravity on it. I've got, on this one I've got Let's see, we got 1 ounce of Columbus at 60, 0.6 ounces of Galena at 45, 1 ounce of Centennial at 15, 1 ounce of Simcoe at 5, and then I'm going to whirlpool for 30 minutes, 1 ounce of Cascade and 1 ounce of Centennial. And then after I get done doing that, I'm going to drop in another pound of honey, and I also added an additional 1/4 pound of crystal and half a pound of honey malt to this. So now the grain bill is 13 pounds Canadian 2-row, 1.4 pounds of crystal 15, 1 ounce of carapils, which I had here and I just threw it in there because it needed to be used, 1 pound of honey, 1 pound of honey malt, or excuse me, half a pound of honey malt, and then 1/4 pound of crystal 40. And that's the grain bill. And the OG is supposed to spec out at 1.075 with the honey and then finish up at 1.020. And it's supposed to be a gold copper color, 7 SRM, and 72.5 IBUs, which is considerably higher than the one I had before. I added the Galena to it and it boosted it up quite a bit. And that's what I got going on my brew day. Right now I've got the 12 minutes left and I'm going to do my Galena drop, and then I'll get back to you here in a little bit. Cheers. Yeah, I got this brew day in the bag. Pretty happy about that. Did not film any more of the brew day. I was busy. Everything turned out good. The new manifold worked out great. Actually, my efficiency was over what it was projected, which is the first time that's happened. I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm going to keep using the CPVC manifold I got in there and the mash tun, and it wasn't hitting my numbers with the steel braided line. I don't know what was going on with that. Tried changing it around a little bit, changed the lengths. Thought it might have been floating in the bottom of the mash tun while I was trying to sparge out, staying off the bottom, not picking up the sugars or something, so I shortened the length. That helped some, but it was basically still not anywhere near it should have been. So I decided to go ahead and change out to a CPVC manifold. Did that yesterday. Only took about an hour to build the thing, so I was pretty happy about that. And tested it out today. It worked like a charm. Hit my number. Well, it was over. I had better efficiency than 75%, so I was pretty happy about that. We'll see how this beer turns out in a couple weeks. Cheers. We have fermentation. And here's my Honey Hoppyummy IPA. A couple hours after I pitched the yeast. And I rigged the blow up tube off on it. Run it down into a half-gallon growler full of Star Sign. Good times. Alright, here's my Honey Hoppyummy. Not quite 24 hours later. As you can see, it's a good thing I rigged up the blow-off tube, because that baby is blowing out. I don't know if you can see how swelled up the lid is on that thing. Here's another one compared to it. You can see it's just about flat. And then there's the Honey Hoppyummy. Got some massive bubblage going on. It's a good ferment. Other than that, I don't really have anything else going on, so I want to finish up my orchard ale. You guys have a happy Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers.